She entered the boutique like any other customer with calm steps and a discreet smile. But something about her caught the judging eyes and led the manager to quickly decide that she didn't belong there. What nobody knew was that she was the wife of one of the world's most famous and respected actors. When the truth about her identity was revealed, the consequences weren't just unexpected, they were unforgettable. But before we dive into this story, tell us, where are you watching this from? Share your city or country in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel because tomorrow we'll have another inspiring story made especially for you. The boutique exuded exclusivity, with its white marble walls, illuminated glass shelves, and the soft melody of a string quartet filling the air, accompanied by refined fragrances that captivated its clientele. At the center of this universe of luxury was Helena, the manager for over a decade and the personification of perfectionism. Tall and impeccably dressed, her sharp gaze missed nothing. "Clara, line up the crystals in the display case now," she ordered, reflecting her relentless pursuit of excellence. For Helena, luxury was more than an experience. It was an ideology. Only those who knew how to appreciate it deserved to be there. Tourists and the curious were a constant nuisance. "Those window shoppers don't buy anything. They only degrade the experience," she would often mutter. She quickly assessed customers based on their appearance and behavior, deciding who was worthy of that exclusive world. It was a Tuesday morning when Helena, during her usual inspection of the store, noticed something that instantly made her uncomfortable. A woman had just walked in, and her look was in complete contrast to the luxurious atmosphere of the boutique. Worn jeans, simple sneakers, and a gray sweatshirt with the word "love" emblazoned across the chest. Her presence was a visual break in a space where everything seemed meticulously curated to scream exclusivity. Helena's expression hardened, although she didn't show her irritation openly. Instead, she stood at a distance, watching the woman's movements while discreetly instructing the team to stay alert. It was obvious to Helena that this person didn't belong there. The woman, however, seemed oblivious to the discomfort she was causing. She walked with remarkable calm, exploring the shop windows and lightly touching a few items. Her gaze was serene, almost curious, but showed no signs of someone intending to make a purchase. "Who let someone like that in?" Helena muttered, adjusting her glasses for a better view. For her, that was the height of intrusion. While she tried to keep her composure, her mind was already formulating a plan to deal with the situation without compromising the store's image. Determined to solve what she saw as a problem, Helena started walking towards the woman. Her heels echoed on the marble floor, a sound that had become almost synonymous with her authority. When she finally got close enough to confront her, Helena took a deep breath and smiled. It was that calculated, cold, but polite smile she used to dismiss people who, in her eyes, didn't belong there. "Can I help you?" asked Helena, tilting her head slightly. The woman looked at her, and something in her gaze made Helena hesitate for a fraction of a second. It was a look that exuded calm and unwavering confidence. Still, Helena ignored her discomfort and prepared herself for the next step. "She has to leave," she thought. But before she could go any further, an unexpected thought crossed her mind. Who is this woman? The woman who had just entered the boutique was a striking contrast to the sophisticated and meticulously curated environment. Her appearance, worn jeans, simple sneakers, and a gray sweatshirt with the word "love" printed on it, seemed out of place, almost as if she belonged to a completely different world. For Helena, it was more than just a questionable choice of clothes. It was a silent insult to the refinement she so defended. What a disastrous combination, thought Helena, frowning. The flashy sweatshirt, the worn-out sneakers. It's hard to decide which is worse. Everything about her screamed a complete lack of awareness of where she was. However, the woman walked with impressive calm, seemingly indifferent to the judgmental stares that followed her. She touched the items on display delicately, as if absorbing every detail. Her posture was confident, almost as if the environment was adjusting to her rhythm. Helena took a deep breath, adjusted the sleeves of her blazer, and decided to deal with the situation herself. Helena approached with firm steps, her heels echoing against the marble floor. Her smile was polite, but carried an undertone of coldness. "Can I help you?" she asked, tilting her head slightly as her eyes scanned the woman from head to toe. It was impossible to hide the judgment in his expression. The woman looked up, smiling slightly. "I'm just looking," she replied, her voice soft but firm, seemingly indifferent to Helena's tone. "I understand," Helena replied, crossing her arms and maintaining an air of superiority. "But our policy is clear. We seek to provide a serene and exclusive experience for our customers. It's important to preserve that atmosphere," said Helena, maintaining a firm tone. The woman tilted her head slightly as if considering her words. "I just wanted to take a look. I've never been in a boutique like this," she replied calmly. "It certainly doesn't look like the kind of place you frequent," said Helena, not bothering to hide her sarcasm as she adjusted her hair. The woman offered a small smile as if Helena's words had no weight at all. "It's true, I usually prefer more relaxed places." Helena pressed her lips together, feeling slightly provoked. "Well, here we offer something more refined," she said, emphasizing the word. "Our aim is to cater for those who really appreciate the value of exclusivity and sophistication." "I see," replied the woman with a slight nod. "So, exclusivity is something you measure by appearance?" It's not about looks," Helena retorted defensively. "It's about maintaining the right atmosphere for our customers." The woman kept her smile, now tinged with irony. "Interesting. So, what makes a customer suitable?" Helena felt irritated, but she couldn't show it. "Good taste, elegance, and a certain understanding of what luxury really means." The woman laughed softly, almost imperceptibly. "It seems like a lot of work just to buy a dress." Helena couldn't hold back a sigh of exasperation. "Our pieces aren't just dresses," she replied emphatically. "They are haute couture creations that represent a lifestyle, something that can be difficult to explain to someone who isn't used to it." The woman raised her eyebrows, looking genuinely interested. "And you decide who's used to it, don't you?" "I'm the manager of this boutique," Helena replied firmly. "It's my responsibility to protect the customer experience and the brand's reputation." The woman tilted her head slightly, studying Helena as if trying to decipher her. "You take this very seriously," she said, with a tone that sounded as much like praise as veiled criticism. Helena remained silent for a moment, feeling uncomfortable with the woman's composure. There was something about her, an unshakable confidence that seemed completely oblivious to the scenery around her. "So, have you decided?" asked Helena in a calculated tone. "Are you going to keep looking, or would you like to try something?" "I'm in no hurry," replied the woman, smiling enigmatically. "I'm still deciding." Helena took a deep breath, trying to control her growing irritation. Before she could reply, the doors of the boutique opened once again. The echo of Helena's heels filled the room again as she turned towards the entrance. An instant silence fell over the store, as if time had stopped. Standing in the doorway was Jackie Chan. His presence was magnetic and all eyes turned to him. Dressed casually but elegantly, his posture radiated confidence and simplicity. He looked around briefly, his gaze quickly finding the woman in the sweatshirt. "Ah, there you are," he said warmly, walking towards her with a relaxed smile. Helena blinked, confused. "Do you know this person?" she asked, her voice breaking for the first time. The woman turned, her serene smile unwavering. "Ah, sorry for the confusion. My name is Feng-Jiao. Jackie is my husband," she said lightly, taking Jackie's arm as he approached. Helena froze. Feng-Jiao, she repeated, struggling to process what she had just heard. The name was not only familiar, it was now painfully connected to the man in front of her. Jackie's eyes met Helena's, her expression gentle but subtly investigative. "Was there a problem here?" he asked, his tone calm but firm. Helena tried to regain her composure, adjusting the sleeves of her blazer. "No, sir, of course not. I was just making sure that Mrs. Lin had the best experience possible." Lin laughed softly, his laugh free of malice but carrying a note of silent understanding. "Oh, She was being very thoughtful, he said, looking at Jackie in a way that only he seemed to fully understand. Jackie's smile remained, but there was something in her eyes that made Helena feel acutely aware of the weight of her earlier words. "Thanks for looking after Lynn. Let's have another look around here," he said, taking her hand and leading her further into the boutique. Helena stood paralyzed in place, a storm of shock, shame, and disbelief boiling up inside her. Her employees, who were watching from a distance, exchanged discreet glances, clearly trying to process what they had just witnessed. As Jackie and Lynn walked calmly through the boutique, the stark contrast between Lynn's plain sweatshirt and Jackie's magnetic presence only amplified the gravity of Helena's mistake. For the first time, she felt her confidence waver. "What have I done?" she thought, as the weight of the situation began to sink in. Jackie looked directly at Helena, her expression cordial but slightly scrutinizing. "Was there a problem here?" he asked, his tone calm but firm. Helena tried to pull herself together, adjusting the sleeves of her blazer. "No, sir, of course not. I was just making sure she had the best experience possible." Lynn laughed softly, without malice, but with a hint of understanding. "Oh, she was very thoughtful," he said, casting a glance at Jackie that only he seemed to fully interpret. Jackie kept her smile, but there was something in her gaze that made Helena feel the weight of every word she had said earlier. He took a few steps around the boutique, looking at the products and the staff before returning to the conversation. "I'd like to understand something," Jackie began, her voice carrying an air of quiet authority. "Lynn mentioned that there was an interesting exchange of words. Perhaps you could clarify what happened?" Helena swallowed dryly, her heart racing. "Oh, of course, Mr. Chan. I was just making sure that her experience was in line with our standards. Perhaps there was a misunderstanding." Jackie raised an eyebrow, her expression calm but firm. "A misunderstanding?" she asked, her tone clearly pressing for a more satisfactory explanation. Helena adjusted her approach, pulling back slightly. "Yes, I was just concerned about the atmosphere in the store. We strive to provide a serene and exclusive space for our customers, and perhaps I was a little too direct." Lynn intervened, his tone still serene but sharp enough to cut through the air. "Oh, I completely understand. Exclusivity is very important here," she said, fixing her eyes on Helena. "But it's curious how it seems to be measured in such subjective ways." Jackie, now crossing her arms, tilted her head slightly. "You work on commission, don't you?" she asked, her tone casual but carrying an undeniable weight that made Helena feel the ground shake beneath her feet. "Yes, we do," she replied hesitantly. "But our main goal is always to serve our customers with excellence." Jackie kept her gaze steady. "Interesting," she said without breaking eye contact, "because it seems that judgment came before service. Am I wrong?" Helena opened her mouth to reply, but hesitated. It was clear that he wasn't wrong, and any attempt to justify himself would only make matters worse. Lynn, watching the exchange carefully, decided to let the silence speak for itself. Jackie finally shook his head, exhaling briefly. He looked at Lynn, and then back at Helena, with a cold, calculated smile. "What a mistake," he said. "A big mistake." The words echoed through the boutique, leaving a heavy impact in the air. Helena froze, trying to process what she had just heard, while Lynn looked away with a small smile of complicity. Some nearby customers, who had pretended not to notice, now exchanged discreet glances. One murmured to the person next to him, "That's what happens when people judge others by their looks." Another whispered softly, "I was thinking of buying something, but after this, I'm not sure I want to spend my money here." Helena began to understand the full scope of her mistake. This wasn't just about her reputation with a famous client. The ripple effects were spreading to other clients and even her own team. Then, as if confirming his worst fears, Jackie delivered the final blow. "Don't worry," he said, taking Lynn's hand with a calm smile. "We won't be buying anything today. We wouldn't want to disturb the exclusive atmosphere of the store." Lynn laughed softly, shaking his head. "Thank you very much for your attention, Helena. It was enlightening." They started towards the door, leaving a heavy silence in the boutique. When the glass doors closed behind them, the employees finally allowed themselves to breathe, but the tension in the air remained palpable. Helena, still frozen in place, felt her cell phone vibrate in her pocket. With trembling hands, she unlocked the screen and read a message from a customer near the door, which she had sent to a WhatsApp group. "I just saw Jackie Chan leave the most famous boutique in town after being mistreated. The drama was great and well-deserved." Helena exhaled deeply, feeling the weight of what had just happened. The incident wasn't over. It had only just begun. Helena remained motionless for several minutes after Jackie Chan and Feng-Jiao left the store. The boutique seemed electrified, with staff exchanging nervous glances and customers whispering amongst themselves. Although she tried to regain her composure, Helena knew that the consequences of this moment would be far-reaching. Adjusting her blazer in an attempt to regain control, she ordered, "Everyone back to work!" Her tone was harsher than she had intended, but it was clear that no one was really focused. The couple's dramatic exit still reverberated through the boutique like an unshakable echo. Shortly after the incident, a customer who had witnessed the scene approached one of the windows, apparently ready to make a purchase. Instead, he turned to Helena and said, "I was going to buy that watch, but I think I'll reconsider. If the service here depends on how someone is dressed, maybe I shouldn't spend my money here." Helena tried to force a polite smile, but the impact of her words was undeniable. Other customers began to leave the store, some in silence, others muttering among themselves. Feeling control slip through her fingers, Helena sat in her office, the phone still trembling in her hands. The conversation with the owner of the space had been direct and stern. He had pointed out the posts on social media, the comments from dissatisfied customers, and the negative impact his behavior was having on the venue's reputation. "Do you understand what's at stake here?" he said, with a serious tone. "It doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, Helena. A mistake like this can cost us dearly. I need you to sort it out now." Helena took a deep breath after hanging up. Shame, anger, and doubt bubbled up inside her. For years, she had believed that exclusivity meant judgment, that it was her duty as a manager to decide who deserved to be there. Now that logic seemed to crumble in front of her. Alone in her office, Helena relived the incident in her mind. Lynn's words, calm but sharp, echoed, "It's funny how it seems to be measured in such subjective ways." She ran her hands over her face, feeling exhausted. For the first time, she wondered if her vision of exclusivity was wrong. Had she lost sight of what really mattered? In her quest for perfection, had she forgotten about humanity? While rummaging through her desk, she found an old photograph tucked away in a drawer. It was of her younger self, standing in front of a luxury boutique, wearing simple clothes. At that moment, Helena remembered how she had dreamed of entering a place like the boutique she now managed. "When did I forget who I was?" she muttered to herself. The next day, Helena gathered her team for a meeting. The room was full, but the silence was tense. Everyone seemed apprehensive, expecting reprimands or strict orders. Helena took a deep breath and began, "Yesterday was a difficult day, and much of it was my fault." The employees exchanged surprised glances. It was rare for Helena to admit a mistake. "I always believed that our job was to protect the image of the brand, to maintain exclusivity. But in doing so, I realized that I had forgotten something important: respect. And yesterday, I failed to show it." Clara, who had been the most critical the day before, smiled slightly, encouraging Helena to continue. Helena looked around the room and said, "Starting today, I want us to think about exclusivity differently, not as a barrier, but as a welcoming and memorable experience for each customer. Let's change." The following weeks brought visible changes. The team underwent training to adopt a more inclusive and customer-centered approach. Helena led by example, greeting each customer with genuine warmth, regardless of their appearance or status. Physical changes were also made to the boutique. Near the entrance, a mural was installed with the phrase, "Luxury is a state of mind, not an appearance." For Helena, this was more than a motto. It was a new philosophy. A few days later, Helena was in her office reviewing reports when she came across the old photo of herself again, in front of the boutique, young, dressed simply, and dreaming of the world of luxury. This time, as she looked at the photo, she didn't feel shame or regret. Instead, she felt a deep connection with the young woman she had once been. She placed the photo on her desk next to Lynn's words as a constant reminder of where she came from and how she chose to grow up. The boutique now displayed a new message, prominently displayed near the entrance. True luxury is not in the things we own, but in the connections we create. Helena looked at the phrase every day, reminding herself of the importance of continuing to evolve. For her, the boutique was now more than a sales space, and it was a place where people from all over could feel valued. At the end of the day, as the boutique lights went out, Helena smiled. For the first time in a long time, she felt at peace with her work and the person she was becoming. This was the remarkable story of Helena, Lin Feng-Jiao, and Jackie Chan, showing how humility and humanity can transform even the most exclusive environments. Now it's your turn. What did you think of this journey? Do you believe that empathy can change the way we see and treat people? Share your opinion in the comments. We really want to know. If this story has touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a friend or family member who needs to hear this message. And of course, subscribe to the channel to follow more stories that inspire, move, and show the power of personal transformation. Want more inspiration? Click on one of the videos that are appearing on your screen right now and immerse yourself in another incredible narrative. See you in the next video.